Captain Jinwoo Park stood on the bridge of the UES Harmony and watched the alien ship grow larger on his screen. The ship looked like it was made of glass and light. It was beautiful in a way that made his chest feel tight. This was the first time humans had ever met aliens who wanted to talk to them. "Captain, they are sending us another message," said So-Young Choi from her seat at the communication station. Her fingers moved quickly over the controls. "They want to know more about our culture. They sound very interested in our art and music." Jinwoo nodded and looked at his science officer. "What do you think, Hee-Jin?" Chief Science Officer Hee-Jin Lee looked up from her readings. "Their technology is amazing, Captain. They use pure energy in ways we never thought possible, but they seem peaceful. All their scans of our ship have been gentle. They could have destroyed us already if they wanted to." The aliens called themselves Velthans. They were tall beings that looked like they were made of living crystal. When they moved, light danced through their bodies in beautiful patterns. They spoke in musical tones that made the translator work hard to turn their words into human language. For 3 weeks, the two ships had traveled together toward the human colony of New Jeju. The Velthans said they wanted to see how humans lived on other worlds. They seemed excited about everything human. They asked about human families, human food, human dreams. They wanted to know why humans sang songs and why they made art. "Captain," called Tactical Officer Dong-Hyun Kim, "we are getting close to New Jeju. The colony is sending us welcome messages. They are very excited to meet the Velthans." Jinwoo smiled. New Jeju was one of humanity's best colonies. 50,000 people lived there in beautiful cities surrounded by forests they had planted themselves. The colonists had worked for 20 years to make the planet perfect for human life. Children played in parks. Families grew food in gardens. Scientists studied the local animals and plants. The leader of the Velthan ship was someone called Velthara. When Jinwoo talked to Velthara, the alien's crystal body would glow with soft blue light. Velthara said the Velthans had been watching humans for a long time. They were impressed by how quickly humans learned and how much humans cared for each other. "Your species is very young," Velthara had said during one of their talks, "but you have such strong feelings for your families and your children. This is rare in the galaxy. Most species lose this as they grow older and wiser." Jinwoo had felt proud when he heard this. Humans did care deeply about their families. They would do anything to protect their children and their loved ones. The ships reached New Jeju on a bright morning when the planet's sun made everything look golden. The colony's capital city of New Seoul spread out below them like a jewel. The buildings were white and clean. Green parks dotted the city like emeralds. Children could be seen playing in schoolyards. Governor Min Ho-yoon met them at the spaceport. He was a kind man with gray hair and warm eyes. He had helped build New Jeju from nothing. His wife Jisoo and their 2 young children stood beside him. The children held flowers to give to the aliens. "Welcome to New Jeju," Min-ho said to both the human crew and the Velthans. "We have prepared a celebration to show our friendship." The Velthans seemed delighted. Velthara's crystal body glowed brighter than Jinwoo had ever seen. "We are honored to see how humans live and grow," the alien said. "Your children are beautiful. Your cities are full of life and hope." The celebration was held in the main square of New Seoul. Thousands of colonists came to see the aliens. Children sang songs. Artists showed their paintings. Cooks prepared special food from Earth and from New Jeju's own farms. The Velthans walked through the crowds, their crystal bodies catching the sunlight and throwing rainbows everywhere. They seemed fascinated by everything. They watched children play games. They listened to old people tell stories. They smelled flowers and tasted human food. Jinwoo stood with his crew and watched the celebration. Hee-Jin was taking notes on how the Velthans reacted to different things. So-Young was recording everything for Earth to see. Dong-Hyun kept checking his sensors, but they showed nothing dangerous. "This is a good day for humanity," Jinwoo said to his officers. "We are not alone in the universe anymore." The celebration went on for hours. As the sun began to set, Governor Min-ho called for everyone to gather in the square. The colonists formed a large circle around the Velthans. Parents held their children. Teenagers held hands. Old people smiled and remembered their own first days on New Jeju. "We want to give you a gift," Min-ho said to the Velthans. "We want to show you the most important thing about humans." The colonists began to sing. It was an old Earth song about home and family and love. 50,000 voices joined together in perfect harmony. The sound rose up into the evening sky like a prayer. The Velthans stood perfectly still as the song washed over them. Their crystal bodies began to glow in new colors. Velthara stepped forward as the song ended. "That was beautiful," the alien leader said. "We understand now why humans are special. You sing together. You are one people, even when you are far from your birth world." Then everything changed. The Velthans moved faster than any human eye could follow. Weapons appeared from hidden places in their crystal bodies. Energy beams shot out in all directions. The weapons were not like anything humans had ever seen. They turned everything they touched into dust and light. The children who had been singing were gone in an instant. The parents who had held them vanished like smoke. Governor Minho and his family became shadows on the ground. The beautiful white buildings of New Seoul melted like ice and fire. Jinwoo watched from his ship in the sky above. His screen showed him everything. The thermal readings, the energy signatures, the death of 50,000 innocent people in less than 3 minutes. "Captain," Dong-hyun shouted. "Should we fire? Should we help them?" But there was nothing left to help. Where New Seoul had been, there was only burning ground and twisted metal. Where the forests had been, there was only ash. Where 50,000 humans had lived and loved and sung together, there was only silence. Velthara's voice came over the communication system one last time. The alien's tone had not changed. It was still musical and calm. "Your species is deemed incompatible with galactic civilization," Velthara said. "Prepare for extinction." The Velthan ship disappeared into hyperspace, leaving the humans alone with their horror. Jinwoo stood on his bridge and stared at the screen. His hands shook. His heart pounded. In his mind, he could still hear the colonists singing together just moments before they died. "Captain?" Ye-jin whispered. "What do we do now?" Jinwoo looked at his crew. He saw his own rage and grief reflected in their faces. Something had changed inside all of them. Something had broken and been replaced with something harder and colder. "Now," Jinwoo said quietly, "we go home. We tell Earth what happened here, and then we make sure this never happens to another human child." As the Harmony turned toward Earth, Jinwoo made a promise to the memory of New Jeju. The Velthans had taught humanity a lesson about the galaxy. Now humanity would teach the Velthans a lesson about what happened when someone hurt human children. The war had begun. The news of New Jeju reached Earth like a fire spreading through dry grass. In every city on every world where humans lived, people stopped what they were doing and watched the recordings that Captain Jinwoo had brought back. They saw the children singing. They saw the families holding hands. They saw the moment when everything turned to ash. President Kyung-soo Nam stood in the emergency council chamber and watched the video for the 100th time. His face was stone, but his hands were fists. Around him sat the leaders of humanity's greatest nations and colonies. None of them spoke as the recording played again. 50,000 people, said Defense Minister Hae Rim-song. Her voice was quiet, but it carried across the silent room. Children, parents, grandparents, all dead in 3 minutes. They killed them while they were singing, said Colony. Director Jamin Park. While they were showing friendship and love, President Nam turned off the screen and looked at the faces around the table. He had been a diplomat for 30 years. He had always believed that problems could be solved with words and patience, but words could not bring back the dead children of New Jeju. The aliens gave us a message, Nam said. They think we are incompatible with galactic civilization. They told us to prepare for extinction. He paused and let those words sink in. I have a different message for them. We accept their declaration of war. The room erupted in voices. Some leaders wanted to know if humanity could win such a war. Others wanted to know how many ships the aliens had. A few suggested trying to negotiate or find other aliens who might help. Admiral Tai Hwan-jung stood up and the room fell silent. He was the head of Earth Space Forces and one of the most respected military minds in human space. His gray hair and steady eyes had seen many battles, but never anything like this. There will be no negotiation, Jung said. You do not negotiate with someone who murders your children. You do not find middle ground with someone who wants to make your species extinct. He looked around the room. The aliens have shown us what they think of human life. Now we will show them what humans think of alien life. President Nam nodded. Admiral Jung, you have complete authority to build and command our war fleet. Take whatever you need. Use whatever resources are necessary. The only limit is this. We do not stop until every alien that was on that ship is dead. Within hours, the transformation began. It was not just military bases that changed. It was everything. Factories that made cars began making weapons. Scientists who studied medicine began studying alien biology. Artists painted pictures of Earth to remind people what they were fighting for. Dr. Yoonji Song led a team of humanity's best scientists in studying the Velthon technology that Captain Jin Woo had managed to record. They worked 18 hours a day, sleeping in their laboratories, eating at their computers. Their energy weapons work by exciting atoms until they lose cohesion, Yoonji explained to Admiral Jung during one of his visits. It is very advanced, but it has limits. We can build shields against it. More importantly, we can build weapons that use the same principles. Engineer Woo Jin Kang was given a different task. He took civilian ships and turned them into hunters. Cargo vessels became missile platforms. Passenger ships became troop carriers. Even small personal craft were fitted with weapons and sensors. We need numbers, Woo Jin told his teams. The aliens have advanced technology, but humans have something better. We have anger and we have lots of ships. The civilian response was something the leaders had not expected. Ji-Hai Park ran the colony support organization that normally helped new settlements get started. Now she organized entire worlds to build weapons and train soldiers. Every human colony is now a fortress, she announced on the news broadcasts that went to every human world. Every human citizen is now a defender. The aliens want to make us extinct. We choose to make them extinct first. Captain Jinwoo found himself promoted to admiral and given command of the 1st Pursuit Squadron. His ship, the Harmony, was stripped down and rebuilt as a hunter-killer. New weapons were installed. New armor was added. New sensors that could track alien energy signatures were fitted throughout the ship. We are not the same ship that went to New Jeju, Hyejin told him as they watched the modifications being completed. She had also been promoted and now commanded the science division of the pursuit fleet. We are something harder now. Good, Jinwoo replied. The Harmony was built for exploration and diplomacy. But diplomacy is dead. Now we are built for hunting. The first alien hunters launched from Earth 6 months after New Jeju. They were not the sleek exploration ships of the past. They were brutal, efficient killers designed for one purpose: finding aliens and destroying them completely. But the pursuit was more than just military. Humanity had learned something important about themselves in the months after New Jeju. They had learned that when their children were threatened, they could focus their entire civilization like a weapon. Intelligence officer Yu Jin O developed new ways to track alien ships through hyperspace. She studied every piece of data from the attack, every energy reading, every gravitational distortion. She built computer models that could predict where the aliens might go next. They made a mistake, she told Admiral Jung. They let us see their technology work. Now we know how their ships move through space. We can follow them anywhere. Commander Sang-Min Lee worked with Yu Jin to build a network of sensor stations throughout human space and beyond. Small hidden devices that would detect alien ships and send warnings back to Earth. Within a year, no alien ship would be able to move anywhere near human territory without being seen. They think they can hit us and disappear, Sang-Min said as he supervised the installation of another sensor network. They do not understand humans yet. We never forget. We never forgive. And we never stop hunting. The Psychological Warfare Division was something entirely new for humanity. Led by Dr. Min Jun-yu, they studied every recording of alien communication. They learned how aliens thought, how they communicated, how they made decisions. Fear is universal, Min Jun explained to his team. Every thinking species understands fear. We are going to teach these aliens to be afraid of humans. We are going to make them wake up in terror every day, knowing that human ships are coming for them. As the months passed, humanity changed. People still had families and jobs and normal lives, but underneath it all was a cold determination. Children learned to build weapons in school. Parents trained for combat on weekends. Grandparents shared stories of Earth's old wars to teach their grandchildren about tactics and strategy. The aliens had expected humans to respond like other species they had attacked. They had expected panic, then negotiation, then surrender. Instead, they got something they had never seen before. An entire species that had decided to commit genocide in return for genocide. Admiral Jung stood in the command center of the New Earth Defense Fortress and watched the displays showing human ships throughout the galaxy. Red dots marked confirmed alien sightings. Blue dots showed human pursuit squadrons moving to intercept. The board looked like a game, but it was a game where the stakes were the survival of entire species. How long until we make contact with alien forces? President Nam asked during one of his visits. Soon, Jung replied. Our deep-range scouts have found traces of alien ships in 3 different systems. We are closing in. He paused and looked at the displays. When we find them, there will be no warnings, no demands for surrender, no mercy. We learned from New Jeju that these aliens do not understand mercy. And if they try to surrender, Jung's expression did not change. They had their chance to choose peace. They chose war instead. They chose to murder our children. Now we choose to end their species. The transformation was complete. Humanity had become something new, something focused and deadly. They had kept their love for their families and their children. But they had added something else. The absolute certainty that anyone who threatened human children would be destroyed completely. The aliens had taught humanity a lesson about the galaxy. Now humanity was ready to teach the aliens a lesson about what happened when you made humans your enemy. The hunt was about to begin. The first contact came in the Kepler 442 system, 18 months after New Jeju. Commander Sang-min, Lee was leading a patrol of 3 human ships when his sensors detected the familiar energy signature of Velthon technology. Contact confirmed. Lee reported back to Earth. 2 alien vessels, cruiser class. They appear to be scanning the system for habitable worlds. He paused, checking his readings again. They have not detected us yet. Admiral Jung's voice came back across the long-distance communication link. Remember your orders, Commander. No warnings, no mercy. Document everything for analysis, then destroy them completely. Lee nodded to his crew. The 3 human ships were new designs, built specifically for hunting aliens. They were fast, heavily armed, and covered in stealth technology, developed from studying Veltan energy patterns. The aliens had taught humans about their technology. Now humans would use that knowledge against them. All ships attack formation, Lee ordered. Target their engines first. We need at least 1 ship intact for study. The human ship struck without warning. Missiles and energy beams tore through space, hitting the alien vessels before they could react. The first Velthan ship exploded in a burst of crystalline fragments. The second ship tried to escape, but human weapons had been designed specifically to penetrate Velthan shields. Second ship disabled, reported Lieutenant Dal-Soo Kim from the attack ship Vengeance. Engines destroyed, weapons offline, but the ship is intact. Lee felt satisfaction flow through him. This was the moment humanity had been working toward for 18 months. Boarding teams, prepare for capture operations. Remember, we need their technology and we need prisoners for interrogation. The boarding of the Veltan ship was swift and brutal. Human soldiers wore armor designed to protect against alien energy weapons. They moved through the crystal corridors of the alien ship like hunters stalking prey. The Veltans inside tried to fight, but they had never faced anything like human soldiers motivated by the memory of dead children. Within an hour, the alien ship was secured. 3 Veltan prisoners were taken alive. Their crystal bodies flickered with colors that the humans had learned meant fear and confusion. Why do you attack us? One of the aliens asked through the translator. We are explorers, not warriors. We mean no harm to your species. Commander Lee looked at the alien prisoner with cold eyes. You mean no harm? Tell that to the 50,000 humans you murdered on New Jeju. Tell that to the children who were singing when you killed them. The alien's crystal body went dark. New Jeju? We know nothing of this place. We have not attacked any human settlements. Lee realized something important. These were not the same aliens who had attacked New Jeju. These were different Velthans, probably from a different ship or maybe even a different part of their society. It did not matter. You are Velthans, Lee said simply. The Velthans who killed our people said that humans are incompatible with galactic civilization. They declared war on our entire species. We have decided that your entire species is incompatible with existence. The captured Velthan ship was taken back to Earth for study. Dr. Yoonji Song and her team spent weeks taking it apart, learning every detail of its construction and technology. They found star maps showing dozens of Velthan colonies. They found communication logs revealing trade routes and military positions. Most importantly, they found the location of the Velthan homeworld. They have 43 star systems under their control, Yoonji reported to Admiral Jung. Approximately 12 billion Velthan's total population. Their military consists of about 3,000 ships of various sizes. Jung studied the star charts with satisfaction. 12 billion aliens. 3,000 ships, all marked for destruction. He looked at his staff officers. How long to reach their closest colony? 6 weeks with our fastest ships, replied Captain Jae-sung Kim, who had been promoted to lead the 2nd Pursuit Squadron. But Admiral, they will detect our approach and warn their other colonies. Good, Jung said. I want them to know we are coming. I want them to be afraid. Fear will make them make mistakes. The human pursuit fleet that launched toward Velthan space was unlike anything that had ever been seen in the galaxy. 200 ships of various sizes, all designed for one purpose: the complete destruction of an alien species. They carried weapons designed specifically to kill Velthans. They carried soldiers trained specifically to fight Velthans. They carried scientists whose only job was to study Velthan technology, so it could be used against them. Admiral Jinwoo Park commanded the fleet from his flagship, the former Harmony now renamed the New Jeju Memorial. The bridge crew that had watched the destruction of the colony now prepared to take their revenge. All ships report ready for hyperspace jump, reported So Young Choi, now promoted to communications director for the fleet. Destination Velcara system. Estimated Velthan population 400 million. Jump, Jinwoo ordered. The attack on Velcara was a demonstration of everything humans had learned about fighting Velthans. The human ships appeared in the system spread out in a formation that gave them overlapping fields of fire. The Velthan defense fleet tried to respond, but human weapons cut through their shields like they were made of paper. Intelligence officer Yu Jin-oh had spent months developing psychological warfare tactics specifically for Velthans. As the human ships destroyed the alien defense fleet, they broadcast recordings from New Jeju. Not recordings of the destruction, but recordings of the children singing just before they died. "This is what you destroyed," the human broadcast said in perfect Veltan language. "These were the voices you silenced. Now you understand why we have come for you." The battle for Velcara lasted 6 hours. When it was over, the Velthan defense fleet was destroyed and their orbital stations were captured intact. But the humans were not interested in conquest. They were interested in elimination. Fleet Captain Jae-sung Kim led the bombardment of the planet's surface. The weapons used were precise and efficient. They targeted every Velthan city, every Velthan town, every place where Velthans lived or worked. The bombardment continued for 3 days until the planet's surface was a uniform field of crystalline dust. Velcara system secured, Kim reported to Earth. All Velthan military assets destroyed. All Velthan population centers eliminated. Moving to next target. The news of Velcara's destruction spread through Velthan space faster than the human fleet could travel. Panic began to spread through the alien civilization as they realized that humans were not interested in limited warfare or negotiated settlements. Humans were systematically destroying every Velthan they could find. The Velthan government tried to open communication with Earth. They sent messages offering to discuss peace terms. They offered to pay compensation for New Jeju. They offered to restrict their ships to their own territory and never approach human space again. The human response was delivered by Sun Ho Lee, who had been appointed as humanity's new director of Xenocide operations. His message was broadcast to every Velthan communication network in the galaxy. "Your species made a choice when you murdered the children of New Jeju," Sun Ho said. His voice was calm and matter-of-fact. "You chose to make humans your enemy. You chose to declare war on our entire species. We have simply decided to finish the war you started. There will be no negotiation. There will be no peace. There will be no mercy. There will only be the complete elimination of your species from the galaxy." As the human fleet moved from system to system, they developed new tactics and technologies. Science team leader Haewon Park created viruses specifically designed to attack Velthan crystal biology. Engineer Woojin Kang built orbital weapons that could destroy entire planets in hours instead of days. But the most terrifying development was how efficiently humans learned to predict Velthan behavior. Strategist Hyun-Jun Park studied captured Velthan battle plans and cultural documents. He began to understand how Velthans thought, how they made decisions, how they reacted to stress. "They are a logical species," Hyun-Jun explained to the fleet commanders. "They make decisions based on mathematical analysis of probable outcomes. But they do not understand humans. They keep assuming we will behave logically. They keep assuming we will eventually agree to stop fighting if they offer us enough." "What do they not understand about us?" Admiral Jung asked. "They do not understand that we are not fighting for territory or resources or political advantage. Hyunjun replied. We are fighting because they hurt our children, and humans never forgive anyone who hurts their children. The prediction algorithms that Hyunjun developed became terrifyingly accurate. Human ships began arriving at Velthon colonies before the Velthons themselves knew they were going there. Human forces intercepted Velthon supply convoys in empty space, guided by mathematical models of alien behavior. Fleet Captain Jinwoo watched his tactical displays with grim satisfaction as another Velthon system fell to human attack. The aliens had taught humanity that the galaxy was a dangerous place where species could be eliminated without warning. Now humanity was teaching the galaxy what happened when you threatened human children. Admiral, Heejin said from her science station, we are receiving reports from other human fleets. The 5th Pursuit Squadron has eliminated the Velthorn system. The war had been going on for 3 years when General Bo-young Seo received the order that would define the final phase of humanity's revenge. She stood in the command center of the assault ship Righteous Fury and looked at the tactical display showing the Velthon colony world of Velshan Prime. General, said her aide, Colonel Yeon-sik Park. The orbital bombardment is complete. All Velthon military installations have been destroyed. The planet is ready for ground assault. Bo-young nodded and activated her communication link to the transport ships carrying 20,000 human soldiers. These were not ordinary troops. They were specialists trained specifically for fighting Velthons on their home ground. They wore armor designed to protect against crystal-based weapons. They carried tools designed to break down Velthon structures molecule by molecule. All units commence planetary assault, Bo-young ordered. Remember your mission. We are not here to conquer. We are here to study, document, and eliminate. The ground assault on Velshan Prime was unlike any military operation in human history. The soldiers did not just attack Velthon positions. They systematically studied every aspect of Velthon society they encountered. They captured Velthon libraries and downloaded their databases. They took samples of Velthon food, technology, and biological materials. They documented everything before destroying it. Dr. Chan Woo-yoon led the Biological Warfare Division that had been developed specifically for fighting Velthons. Working from captured samples and 3 years of research, his team had created viruses that attacked the quantum bonds holding Velthon crystal bodies together. The virus spreads through their communication networks. Chan Woo explained to General Seo as they watched the assault teams advance through a Velthon city. When they try to share information through their crystal resonance fields, they also share the virus. It causes their bodies to lose cohesion over a period of hours. The virus was deployed throughout Velshan Prime's population centers. Within 2 days, 400 million Velthons had died as their crystal bodies simply dissolved. It was efficient, thorough, and terrifying in its precision. Engineer Mi Young-jung had developed something even more devastating. Her orbital bombardment systems did not just destroy Velthon cities. They arranged the destruction in precise geometric patterns that could be seen from space. Each destroyed city became a message that could be read by any Velthon who saw it. The patterns spell out words in ancient Velthon script. Mi Young explained to her engineering teams as they prepared the next bombardment. The message is simple. You killed our children. Now we kill everything you ever built. The psychological impact on the remaining Velthon colonies was devastating. They could see that humans did not just want to win the war. Humans wanted to erase every trace of Velthon civilization from existence. The geometric patterns of destruction became symbols of human vengeance that could be seen across the galaxy. Strategist Hyunjun Park had spent 3 years mapping every aspect of Velthon society. He knew their trade routes, their communication networks, their cultural centers, their hidden refuges. His computers could predict where desperate Velthon groups would try to hide. They have begun fragmenting their society, Hyunjun reported to Admiral Jung during one of the weekly strategy meetings. Different Velthon groups are making different decisions about how to respond to our attacks. Some want to surrender, some want to fight, some want to hide. Does it matter? Jung asked. No, Hyunjun replied. We hunt all of them equally. The ones who surrender die quickly. The ones who fight die slowly. The ones who hide die when we find them, and we always find them. The mathematical models that Hyunjun had developed were now so accurate that human forces could predict Velthon movements weeks in advance. Refugee fleets trying to escape to unexplored space were intercepted by human ships that had been waiting for them. Hidden colonies thought to be secret were discovered and destroyed before they could send out distress calls. Captain Jun-ho. Kim commanded a special operations unit whose job was to ensure that no Velthan escaped human justice. His ships were equipped with the most advanced sensors and weapons that human technology could produce. They hunted down individual Velthan vessels that tried to flee into deep space. "We found another one," Kim reported after his latest mission. "A single Velthan scout ship trying to reach the Galactic Rim. The pilot sent us a message before we destroyed him. He wanted to know why humans would not accept surrender." "What did you tell him?" asked Admiral Jung. "I played him the recording from New Jeju," Kim replied. "I showed him the children singing. Then I told him that his species had chosen to make children their enemies. Now children would be their doom." The human war machine had become something that terrified even other human colonies. Entire worlds had been converted into weapons factories that produced nothing but instruments of Velthan destruction. Scientists who had once studied medicine now spent their time developing new ways to kill crystal-based life forms. Artists created propaganda that reminded humans of what they were fighting for. But the most disturbing development was how normal the genocide had become for most humans. Children grew up learning about Velthan anatomy in school so they could fight them better as adults. Parents took their families to museums displaying captured Velthan technology. The complete elimination of an entire species had become humanity's greatest national project. Dr. Soo-Jin Park led the documentation division that recorded every aspect of the war for future generations. Her teams filmed every battle, interviewed every soldier, and preserved samples of everything Velthan that was destroyed. "Future humans need to understand what happened here," Soo-Jin explained to her staff as they prepared another set of recordings. "They need to know why we chose to eliminate an entire species. They need to remember what happens when someone attacks human children." The Velthan homeworld of Velthar Prime was now the only major Velthan stronghold remaining. Intelligence reports indicated that the surviving Velthan leadership had gathered there, with the remnants of their military forces. They were preparing for a final battle. Admiral In-Soo Jung was given command of the siege fleet that would end the Velthan species forever. 3,000 human ships surrounded the Velthan homeworld, making escape impossible. Every ship was armed with weapons designed specifically for this moment. "The siege will not be rushed," In-Soo explained to his fleet commanders. "We will take our time. We will study their defenses. We will document their final attempts to survive, and then we will end them completely." The siege of Velthar Prime became humanity's greatest military achievement. Every tactical lesson learned from 3 years of hunting Velthans was applied to this final battle. Human ships moved in perfect coordination, guided by computers that could predict every Velthan response. Combat engineer Dalho Lee led specialized teams that landed on the planet's surface to disable Velthan defenses from within. They moved through the crystal cities like ghosts, placing charges that would bring down entire districts when activated. "The Velthans have built their cities around resonance networks," Dalho reported to Admiral In-Soo. "If we disrupt the resonance frequencies, their buildings will collapse like houses of cards. Their entire civilization is based on harmonic principles that we can turn against them." Psychological warfare. Specialist Yeonhwa Kim had saved her most devastating attack for the end. As human forces surrounded the Velthan homeworld, she began broadcasting something that broke the spirits of every Velthan who heard it. "We are broadcasting their own history back to them," Yeonhwa explained to the fleet commanders. "We have translated every Velthan cultural record we captured. We are reading them their own poetry, their own songs, their own stories about their children and their families. Then we are showing them recordings of us destroying all of it." The psychological attack was more devastating than any weapon. The Velthans realized that humans had not just studied their technology and their military tactics. Humans had studied their culture, their art, their deepest beliefs and values, and humans were systematically destroying all of it. The final Velthan attempt at communication came directly from their highest leader, someone called the Crystal Throne. The message was broadcast on all frequencies and translated into perfect human language. "We offer complete surrender," the message said. "We will submit to any terms humans demand. We will give you our technology, our worlds, our resources. We will serve your species as slaves if you require it. We ask only that you allow some of us to live so that our children might survive." The human response was delivered personally by Admiral Jin Woo Park from the bridge of the New Jeju Memorial. His words were broadcast to every remaining Velthan in the galaxy. "Your species asked our children to prepare for extinction," Jinwoo said. His voice was calm and final. "We are simply fulfilling your request. There will be no survivors. There will be no mercy. There will be no tomorrow for your species." As the final assault on Velthar Prime began, humanity achieved something that had never been done before in the galaxy. They had turned the complete elimination of another intelligent species into a science. Every aspect of Velthan existence was being methodically destroyed, according to careful plans developed over 3 years of total war. Fleet Admiral Insu Jung stood on the command deck of the UES Final Justice and watched 3,000 human ships move into their final attack positions around Velthar Prime. 4 years of war had led to this moment. 4 years of hunting, killing, and studying had brought humanity to the homeworld of the species that had murdered their children. "All fleet groups, report ready for final assault," announced Fleet Captain Dalho Lee from his position at the tactical station. "Bombardment ships are in position. Assault transports are standing by. Siege engines are fully charged." Insu nodded and opened a communication link to every ship in the fleet. On every bridge, human officers who had dedicated their lives to this moment waited for his words. "Today we finish what the Velthans started at New Jeju," Insu said. "Today we complete the promise we made to our dead children. There will be no prisoners. There will be no survivors. There will be only the end of the species that thought they could murder human families without consequence." The final assault on Velthar Prime was the most complex military operation in human history. It was not designed just to destroy the planet's defenses or capture strategic positions. It was designed to systematically eliminate every single Velthan on the planet while documenting the process for future study. Dr. Yeonhwa Kim led the Psychological Warfare Division in their final attack on Velthan morale. As human ships began their bombardment, she broadcast recordings that the humans had been saving for this moment. Not recordings of human victories, but recordings of Velthan families from the colonies that humans had already destroyed. "These are your own people," Yeonhwa's broadcast said, in perfect Velthan language. "These are recordings from Velkara, from Velshan, from the 17 other worlds we have sterilized. Listen to them call for help. Listen to them beg for mercy. Listen to them die alone, just like our children died alone on New Jeju." The effect on the Velthan defenders was devastating. They could hear their own families, their own children, dying in the recordings. They realized that the humans had been systematically destroying not just Velthan military forces, but every Velthan who had ever lived. Combat engineer Dalho Lee led the surface assault teams that landed in the crystal cities of Velthar Prime. His soldiers moved through the Velthan capital with methodical precision, placing charges at resonance points that would bring down entire districts when activated. The Velthans built their civilization around harmonic frequencies, Dalho explained to his team leaders as they prepared for the final phase. "Every building, every street, every monument is part of a massive resonance network. When we disrupt it, their entire civilization will literally fall apart." The disruption charges were activated simultaneously across the planet. The crystal spires that had stood for thousands of years began to crack and crumble. The harmonic networks that connected every Velthan community collapsed in cascading failures. Within hours, the architectural achievements of an entire species were reduced to piles of glittering debris. Admiral Jinwoo Park watched the destruction from the bridge of the New Jeju Memorial. Beside him, his original crew from the exploration mission 4 years ago observed the end of the species that had changed their lives forever. "Captain," said Hyejin Lee, now promoted to Science Admiral, "we are receiving the final communication from the Velthan leadership. They are requesting permission to speak with our commanders." "Put them through," Jinwoo replied. The voice that came over the communication system was broken and full of static. "It belonged to the being known as the Crystal Throne, the highest leader of the Velthan species. Please," the alien voice said, "we know we cannot escape. We know you will destroy us all, but we ask you to preserve our history, our art, our knowledge. Let something of our people survive, even if we cannot." Jinwoo looked at the tactical display showing the systematic destruction of Velthar Prime. Human forces were moving through every Velthan archive, every library, every cultural center. They were documenting everything before destroying it. "Your people preserved detailed records of the New Jeju massacre," Jinwoo replied to the crystal throne. You recorded the children singing. You recorded their families holding hands. You kept those recordings as trophies. He paused, letting his words sink in. We will preserve your history the same way, as a record of what happens to species that murder human children. The final ground assault was led by General Bo Young-seo, who had spent 4 years perfecting the art of eliminating Velthan populations. Her soldiers moved through the last Velthan strongholds with weapons designed specifically for crystal-based lifeforms. No biological samples are to be preserved, Bo Young ordered her troops. No Velthan DNA. No cultural artifacts, no technology that could be used to recreate their species. Everything must be destroyed completely. Dr. Chan Woo-yoon released his final biological weapon as the assault team secured the last Velthan population centers. The virus he had developed specifically for this moment would ensure that no Velthan could survive by hiding or pretending to be dead. The virus spreads through their quantum resonance fields, Chan Woo explained to the assault commanders. Any Velthan who tries to communicate with others will spread the infection. Any Velthan who tries to hide alone will die from cellular breakdown. There is no escape. Engineer Mi Young-jung activated the orbital bombardment systems that would mark the end of Velthan civilization. The weapons she had developed created precise geometric patterns on the planet's surface, visible from space. The patterns spelled out messages in every human language. Remember New Jeju. Remember our children. Remember what happens when you threaten human families. As the final Velthan strongholds fell, strategist Hyunjun Park completed his 4-year project of mapping and destroying every aspect of Velthan society. His computers had tracked down every Velthan ship, every hidden colony, every refugee group that had tried to escape human justice. Final report, Hyunjun announced to Admiral Insu. All known Velthan military assets destroyed. All Velthan colonies eliminated. All Velthan refugee groups intercepted and eliminated. Estimated surviving Velthan population, 0. The end came not with a great battle, but with a simple announcement from Commander Sujin Park, who had been documenting every moment of the war for humanity's historical records. The last Velthan has been confirmed eliminated, Sujin reported to Earth. The species that destroyed New Jeju no longer exists. The war is over. The silence that followed was profound. For 4 years, humanity had focused its entire civilization on a single goal: the complete elimination of the Velthan species. Now that goal had been achieved. Admiral In Soo-jung stood before the assembled fleet commanders and delivered the final report of the war. The Velthan species has been eliminated from the galaxy. Their homeworld has been sterilized. Their colonies have been destroyed. Their refugees have been hunted down and eliminated. Their genetic material has been destroyed. Their technology has been studied and destroyed. Their history has been documented and destroyed. He paused and looked at the faces around him. These were humans who had spent 4 years learning how to commit genocide efficiently. They had become something new, something harder and more focused than the species that had first encountered the Velthans. The children of New Jeju have been avenged, Insu continued. The galaxy has learned what happens when someone threatens human families. We can go home now. But returning to normal life was not simple for the humans who had fought in the war. Captain Junho Kim found himself struggling to relate to civilians who had not spent years hunting aliens through deep space. General Bo Young-seo discovered that peaceful activities felt meaningless after years of perfecting the art of species elimination. Dr. Yoon Ji-song, who had led the scientific effort to understand and counter Velthan technology, made a disturbing discovery as she reviewed the war records. We have become very good at destroying entire species, she reported to the post-war analysis committee. We developed technologies and tactics that no other species in the galaxy possesses. We learned how to eliminate not just military forces but entire civilizations. The implications were troubling. Humanity had set out to avenge their children. But in the process they had become something that other species would fear. The galaxy now contained a species that had proven they could and would eliminate any threat to their families, completely and efficiently. President Kyung-soo Nam addressed the nation as the fleet returned to Earth. We did what we had to do, he said. The Velthans chose to make our children their enemies. We chose to make their entire species our enemy. The war is over, but the lesson remains. Those who threaten human families will face the full power of human vengeance. The memorial built on the site of New Jeju's capital, became a place of pilgrimage for humans throughout the galaxy. But it was not just a memorial to the dead. It was a reminder of what humans were capable of when their families were threatened. Admiral Jinwoo Park, now retired, stood in the memorial garden and read the names of the 50,000 colonists who had died 4 years ago. Around him, human children played in parks protected by the knowledge that their species would never again allow anyone to hurt them without facing total retaliation. The galaxy had learned an important lesson about humanity.